I didn't appreciate is that Dre never tells Reese about the kiss. Even when they're having their discussions about divorce, he says something to the effect of like, we're not meant to be, like this isn't right. You never said anything about the kiss. I always felt really bad for Reese in this movie. Because I feel like there's a lot of gaslighting happening. Because she's right this entire time.
Welcome to Curry Gumbo, the podcast where Nicole and Ashley discuss Black film and TV. When did you fall in love with Curry Gumbo? You do love us, right? We love you. And this is what Sid should have asked Dre at the party before he proposed to Reese. But then we wouldn't have the wonderful film that is Rick Famuyiwa's 2002 Brown Sugar. Enjoy. This movie is cute.
Okay.
I really like Brown Sugar. I adore Brown Sugar. I will watch Brown Sugar. I think that sometimes the dialogue between Sanaa and Tay feels too cutesy, but this is also a romantic comedy, and that's just the nature of these films, and I'm okay with that. Is it your favorite?
It's okay. No, it wasn't my favorite. It's okay. I can watch it. Yeah, I think my favorite movie of this era is probably Love Jones.
Same. I think that I'm trying to place what my favorite rom-com is, because Love Jones feels like romantic drama, and as far as rom-com, I don't know. I have to be in the mood. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for Best Man. Sometimes I'm in the mood for Brown Sugar. Sometimes I'm in the mood for Love Jones. You know, there are so many others, but I just, Brown Sugar is cute.
It's cute. And we have some behind the scenes tea.
What's the tea?
Regarding Nicole Ari Parker and Boris Kodjoe. Sorry, I have a sick child in the background.
I am so sorry.
But Jamel Hill had an interview with Boris Kodjoe about a year ago, I think. And he was explaining how he met his wife, Nicole Ari Parker. And we know they met on Soul Food. They were in that series together, not the movie, but the TV show that was on Showtime, and that was like the late 90s. Yeah, the late 90s. Boris was explaining, I guess, their love story, and he was saying how on the set of Soul Food, Nicole was actually married. And I did look this up. When you Google her, she does have a husband from 2001 to 2001. Now, I don't know how many months in 2001 she was married, but she was definitely married.
So he's like the real life Richard Lawson?
No. Okay. So there was nothing crazy. They were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Co-workers, really. They were co-workers. And he said he always liked her, but she was married. I think he was probably in a relationship too. And then, but I guess there's a lot of chemistry between them because their characters were romantic partners on the TV show.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of chemistry between them, a lot of energy between them. And I guess everybody around them could feel it. And Nicole was like, "Nah, it's too much. I need to take a break." And she was like, "You know what? Soul Food, we about to wrap. We're going to have a break over the summer. I can get away from Boris because I don't know what's going on. But, I just need a break."
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when she was going to do Brown Sugar. They said it filmed over the summer. But Boris got the job at Brown Sugar. And Nicole was pissed.
You cannot get rid of him.
She was upset. I don't blame her. I would be mad too. And I noticed that they don't really have too many scenes together. Boris and Nicole. Like, they don't need to,
Mm-hmm.
but they like have no scenes together.
Well, the scene with the party.
That's like the only one.
Yeah.
And I get like they probably wouldn't. Wouldn't make sense for them to like have scenes together. But I was like, I wonder if she made a request and was like, I don't need to be with this man every day.
That's funny. I mean,
But
we see
anyway,
what the outcome.
yeah, so back to the love story. Nicole was trying to take a break and clear her head. Boris was like, I don't know about whatever husband you got, but I'm your husband now. And after Brown Sugar, this is when Tay gets married to Elsa. And Boris and Nicole are invited to the wedding separately. But Boris was like, you know what? Since we both invited, we might as well just go together.
Did you call that girl Elsa?
Yeah.
I didn't know until they got divorced that she did the voice for the Frozen. Go ahead. Oh my
Tay
God.
got married to Elsa. And Boris and Nicole went to the wedding together. And I guess that's when Nicole divorced her husband. And they end up married. And that's the love story. This is the story I actually want to see in real life, because this was the way he explained it. I was like, this is interesting.
It is interesting. I adore Black love. I adore Black women being loved. And so I am just happy that Nicole found her 8'9" chocolate little honey bun. So I
Brown
think
sugar.
that is what's interesting, is that their love story kind of parallels Sid and Dre's, in that Nicole is trying to avoid this man because of the optics of it, more than like that could be part of it, but also because she's listening to her head, maybe. But there's just a higher power at work that's like, you need to be with this man. So yeah, I think that, rewatching this film, I was like, man, Sid is like always in her head. When the first scene of her as a child saying, she fell in love with hip hop July 18th, 1984. You see
How
her
do you know
coming
the
out of
dates?
her. I wrote it down. You see her coming out of her lovely. Oh yeah,
she won. Like, why would you know the date?
She knows the date. This is a woman who is, she's into the analytics of it all. Like, she
Just
knows
say
the
summer
date.
84. Summer 84.
No,
That's it.
no. She said July 18th, 1984. It was a warm 75 degrees outside. Okay. She knew what she had on. And it's young Sid walking out of this lovely brownstone with a bag. And I was like, why you got the bag? Like,
because it's not school time, it's summer.
You're a young girl. Why do you have a bag? And it's not even like a little purse that you might give a young girl in grade school because she just wants to be grown, but she ain't got nothing in there but peppermints. And I had a roommate once who was like, I just want to put something in my purse. I just took the remote control one time and my whole family was looking for it. But it's like, you don't have like little nothings in there. It's like, it's a type of, it looks like one of those bags you get from the library, or like one of those cloth totes that you put books in. And so I'm like, is mama going to the library?
Maybe.
Where is she going? What you doing? I'm confused. But yeah, so I think that she likes to lead with intellect. She leads with her head. She leads with logic. She leads with everything other than emotions. The first thing we hear is that for over a decade, she started each interview the same way, which is, how did you fall in love?
with hip hop?
But
Was it how or when? Whatever.
it's when did you fall in love with hip hop? Now, for over a decade, you starting your interviews the same way. I mean, one, so I think that links to her like nostalgia. I want to keep things original, but also like she said, if it ain't broke, I ain't about to fix it. Like,
Consistency.
because that
They
just if you're opening the same. I mean, some people could say that that's doing the work of the heart, but I don't know, it feels like the work of the head to me. Because if I'm doing an interview, I would want to feel your energy. I would want to I would want to do my research on you and think about, well, how can I access this person in a way that we're going to have a very fruitful interview. But with her, I'm starting it my way and that's it.
it's very robotic because you're having a conversation with a person. You don't have the same conversation with everybody you meet,
Right.
regardless of how deep you know the person. You can
Hmm.
say, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Hello, how are you?" But then it's like based on the person is how you interact with them. You don't just go,
Yeah.
"Hello, how are you? How are you doing today?" Okay, that's great. Fine. Next person. Hello, how are you doing today? Okay, great. That's fine. Like
Yeah.
you have a conversation. But I noticed throughout this whole movie, Sydney and Dre, they were reminiscing a lot about back in the day. It's like they
Hmm.
lived in the past.
Yeah. They lived in the past. And you know what? So do I. I know that I live in the past based on, my Hulu playlist because it's living single
Oh,
all day. So I am clearly living in the 90s because, it's just easier. It was an easier time for me. But why do you think they live in the past?
um, I guess they missed the ease, like a easier time when they were children and fun.
Hmm.
I think a lot of times when people reminisce about the past, it's the fun. It's the carefree time. You don't have to go to work.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
just chill and relax. And I think that's kind of like what she based her relationship with Dre on. Like, oh, this is easy. It's fun. We don't have to think too much about it.
Yeah.
But I wonder what would happen they really, if we saw them in a relationship, would it be that carefree? Because they're not kids. Like, y'all grown now. So
It would
it's going to
it
be a different.
wouldn't it wouldn't be carefree also because I feel like Sid has the
She's
Eiffel
not
Tower
carefree.
up her ass and Dre just feels very he also feels robotic in that I am at this age. I should be married. This person seems
Yeah.
like the right person. Let's do this because that's what you do when you're almost 30. Like that's what that feels like to me. And I think that what they are also leaning into is kind of the ornery nature that comes along with like moving into your 30s or even into your 40s when one of the reasons you're so nostalgic is because you have not really accepted the new wave of things. So you might
Mm.
not accept the new wave of music because ain't nothing got no new genre of music has anything on your hip hop and my hip, the
They do not care about no new music. They want that old feeling. They want what they say the 90s feeling, or in their case, that 80s feeling.
yeah. And I think that what I appreciate about this film is I know that there are a lot of Black woman journalists who saw Sid and said, I want to do that. I can do that. And so that's wonderful. And I mean, in that way, it's like a different world. Like, ooh, college seems fun. That's what college is. Let's go there.
Our office
Not to
is
say,
nice.
yeah, not to say that
Black people didn't know about college before then, because that would be ludicrous. But I think it's a way to make it, to keep the excitement, like bring the excitement to the masses about that. And I think that, Sid does did that for a lot of journalists. I think it crosses off some of your boxes, because I think you're tired of lawyers, you're
Oh
tired of
yes. Whew.
doctors, you're tired
A
of
new
accountants. Like,
profession.
yeah, you're
Yes.
like, give. She's a journalist, and a very successful one, because she's not even 30 and she's the editor in chief
She
of
was
Double
at Double
XL.
XL, yeah. What was the other? Didn't
She
she
was at the LA
change?
Times.
Yeah.
She was at the LA Times, and she was writing, doing music reviews there. And so, I mean, you haven't hit 30 and you're an
And
editor in
Double
chief.
XL
Like,
was popping in the early 2000s. Double
listen,
XL, Vibe, like
Source,
Source, like those, that was a big deal.
it was a very big deal. And so, one thing, I think it's appropriate for her to have such an authoritative attitude towards, but I'm just thinking about, like, if someone who was, you know 30 years old, saying things like, this is the way podcasts should be, yeah, I don't know what these new people is doing, but back in my day, I'm like, how comfortable would I feel if they ran a network and I wanted to see my work on their network? Do you know what I'm saying? I just kind of feel
Yeah.
like,
She's
do
very rigid.
yeah, I just kind of feel a way about that, even though I don't think that there's anything wrong with her having a point of view.
No.
She just always seems so serious to me. Like, even
Yeah, she did.
when they were walking at the beginning of the film, where we see young Sid and young Dre, and they're walking, and they're about to separate, and we can't really hear what they're saying, but we see that them talking, and we just know that they're talking about music. And she's got these hand gestures going, like she is
She was a
dropping
serious
all
kid.
types of knowledge. This girl is serious. And you serious before the age of 12. And you know what? I know that this world has taught Black women and Black little girls that you must be serious. But goddamn, I
Hey,
miss
sometimes
that,
it be
because
like
I ain't
that.
serious at all. But I'm just like, what do you like? She's always intense.
Yeah. She was tense at the bridal shower.
Oh God.
It's like, first of all, when she was giving all the answers, it's like she didn't even try to like relax or
Disrespectful.
let somebody else answer. She was just like,
Disrespectful.
no, this I know the right answer. These are the answers. Like, you guys are wrong. How would you feel if you was at your bridal shower and your
Listen.
man's like best friend was like just knew every single detail? It's like, damn.
Well, I wouldn't have invited her to my bridal
You
shower.
wouldn't?
No.
Why not?
I don't know you. Why I'm inviting his friends?
Well, I would take it if that's a close friend. I guess similar to like a cousin. I wouldn't, if I knew this person was important. No.
I
thinking
feel like this.
bridal shower, yes. Bachelorette party, no. Bachelorette party, I think that's more of your homegirls. Bridal shower, I guess maybe.
Just come to the wedding. I'm not expecting you to. If we're just getting married, if I have said yes after having known you for only a few months and I ain't never
That
met
is
Sydney,
true.
if I have already said yes, then I don't expect you to invite my brother or any of my male cousins to any of the stuff that you have going on. So first of all, I feel like, one, we would more than likely have a long engagement. Let's get to know each other if I have said yes to this. But also, I feel like
there's certain times where you get to be selfish. Birthdays and baby showers and bridal showers and all that stuff, you get to be selfish during that time.
Yeah.
You're not coming. Sydney would not have been there, being all types of inappropriate. I was so disgusted with Sid. You a journalist, you know how to act. Like, why are you going to, like, this girl is answering these questions with a smile on her face as if she is
Like
eating
she
and
reminiscing
savoring.
about the good old
Yes.
times. Like, yeah, that time when we was at
And
the
like,
bar and he ordered this drink and I knew it was good. She
as
thinking
if she
about
is
all them times.
savoring the most delicious, most expensive piece of chocolate. Like, that is how
Mhm.
she's answering these questions. And I feel like subconsciously, are you like throwing that in this girl's face? What are you doing? I feel really bad for Reese. Cause I
Yeah.
like, Sid, what are you doing? You know what I thought was interesting?
What?
They asked, they're playing a game like who knows Dre the most, which the game is a little shady because I like why would
Well, you
you
did
play
make
that
up a good
game?
point because they weren't even together for a long time.
So why even bring,
So no one's gonna know him.
so, and
It's like
except for Sydney. So you wanted this to be like us going back and forth. Like, that game is shady as I don't know what. But anyway,
don't nobody know that
um,
man. You
exactly.
barely know him,
So
Reese.
when they get to the favorite drink part, Sid is saying, um, a McCullen 25 if he's trying to show off, but a Kettle One such and such, that's his real favorite drink. And the girl said, that's right, McCullen 25. But if the McCullen, and I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if it's
I
McCullough,
don't know.
McGillicuddy. I don't know. But that's his showing off drink. So when you asked him that, that means he's showing off if that's the answer that he gave you. So I feel like there would have been tons of bells going off if I'm Reese being like, why you showing off? Why you ain't give me the real answer? I know you was talking
Mhm.
shit about me when you had when you was getting that hot dog, talking about I don't get to eat like this when you and me. So what's up? Like, what's up?
I mean, we could tell from the beginning their whole engagement and wedding just kind of seemed like a showcase, performative. They didn't have a love story.
No, they didn't.
There's no loves. Yeah, there's no love story. It wasn't presented as a love story. It was just like, oh, we're getting married.
We see them. I feel like there's an attraction. I can see them
Yeah.
dating. I can, I can honestly see them married if Sid wasn't in the picture. I can see them I can see them having a very happy life together. Like, they feel like they're physically attracted to each other, romantically attracted, but I don't think that Reese knows who the real Dre is. If you don't like to eat hot dogs in front of her, if you're constantly showing off in front of her, um I don't I think that maybe he is presenting something to her that he's not fully comfortable with, and so that it's going to be a disaster. Like, but I mean, had the Dre that he's presenting to her, those people can be very happy. The fake Dre and Reese can be very happy together. But whoever this real Dre is, you know, who we don't get to see unless he's around Sid, is, you know, he
It's
ain't
kind
with
of
it.
giving. It's giving married at first sight. When them people they just get married and they don't know each other and they gotta figure
Yeah.
it out. They got 90 days. to see if they want to keep going. And we see Sydney and Dre, they didn't make the 90 days. But we'll get to that later.
Reese and Dre?
Yeah, Reese and Dre did not make the 90 days.
Do you think that if we, if this were real, do you think Sid and Dre are together now?
No, because I think, because when I said earlier, they were so caught up on the past and like how carefree and fun it is. I think that's what they, I guess, based their, love for each other. And so nothing was about the future with them. It wasn't like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to, like, as far as them being together, it wasn't like, oh, I can't wait till I can have this or do this or this. It was like, oh, remember back in the day, or remember when we did this. It was always back in the day. So I think if they were to get together, present day would have caught up and been like, this ain't back in the day. We got real bills. Yeah. We got stuff.
And they were never together. They were never together. So I think also they're banking on back in the day, but they're also banking on a fantasy that was created back in the day. Like there was, I think I've met people online and have had relationships with them, like, 6-month relationships, but it just didn't work out. And I say that because I think that you can meet someone and not be in their physical presence for the first, couple of weeks. And then it's like, okay, well, let's go out. Now we're hanging out all of the time. In a way, Sid just got back from LA. You don't know who she is day to day.
Yeah.
You know that she's your old friend. Y'all used to hang out a whole bunch. But I think that at certain ages, like right now, if I don't see a friend for 2 years, I think like we can still be cool. We're still
definitely
very cool. But if I don't see a friend in those like pivotal moments where, okay, I'm not an intern anymore, I have a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, that's my day-to-day is so different. There's a lot of growing in that space. So the day-to-day I was when I was an intern is not the day-to-day that I was right now. I'm grown. Like, and this is really a different person. Do you even know that person?
Mm-hmm.
Do you even know that person other than being on the phone, other than, whatever type of communication that there was, like other than small visits? Do you know this person day in and day out? No. So y'all about to have this relationship. Is it gonna work out? Maybe not, because I'm with you.
Hot and heavy in like the first probably 6 months, hot, heavy, new, yes. But then like when real life starts kicking in,
when Reese call talking about alimony, exactly. The alimony she got to pay him because he broke.
It's not going to be fun and games. It's not going to be, lollipops and butterflies.
No, it's not. Back to that bachelorette party. I don't trust places that don't have real food. Now I'm with Sid on that. If all you got is cucumber sandwiches and fruit and cookies, honey, what are public subs at?
What they call it, just to call it a I don't even know what you call it. I've been to some functions where it's just like a little, I call it a snack.
What are meatballs at?
What are nachos? You're not the meatballs, the nachos type.
Mm-mm.
You saw everybody bought a Tiffany bag.
Everybody had something in that Tiffany blue. She was the only one. It's like you also let your cousin get the gift for you. The cousin who's played by the brilliant Queen Latifah. You let her pick out the gift,
And from the jump, we know that she a freak, so she
Yep.
getting, detachable underwear. It's like, girl. But that was the other thing I didn't like about Sid. If it wasn't about her job,
She didn't care.
she, she didn't care.
She didn't care about a gift. She like,
So don't go. Like, don't go. You don't know her. You're mad because she about to marry this man who you in love with. I didn't have time to get a gift. You weren't about to go get no gift. So don't go. I doubt that someone who knows so much about hip hop, so much about music, doesn't know that taking a job with Millennium Records will not feed any like real artistic spirit. I just doubt that he doesn't know that. So if I am a writer and if I am called to be a copywriter for
TMZ.
who's the no, like if I'm called to TMZ or even the folks who the Tylenol, like Procter and Gamble, if I'm called to be
Okay.
a copywriter there and the money is really wonderful, I know taking that job what it's gonna be. Like it's not you're not there's not gonna be much the creative energy that I want fed is not about to be fed there. And I know that because I know that. I'm
He probably
I
had high hopes.
or you just wanted the paycheck.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like you got. I mean, I can see him. You're excited. You get this job offer, and it's like, oh my god, like why would I not take it? And then you get there, and you're like, this ain't what I thought it would be.
I wanted more from this film in that I wanted to know more about the inner workings of stuff like that. I just cuz that storyline felt like I don't know, like there was nothing like complicated about it.
It was very superficial. Even the Ren and Ten rap duo. It was too generic. Like it was very gimmicky, and it's like the um the
The decision
juxtaposition
is
between
easy.
yeah, but
The
even
decision to leave is easy. Like I
opposing
needed go ahead.
I was saying opposing the Ren and Ten versus Most Def, the cabbie.
Hmm.
It's like they're so opposite.
Yeah.
It's like there's not even a hint of like, okay, maybe like you can't even see the if he will be conflicted or like maybe this could
Yeah.
work out or maybe I can. It's like they're just polar opposites. It's like
Yeah.
there was no complexity in that. They didn't even
That's
try.
why I wanted more of Kelby because I felt like okay, if it's between Ren and Tin and Mos Def's character whose name I always forget. So
Isn't
let
it
me
cabbie?
No.
Oh, because he just drove the cab. They called him cabbie. What they call him?
Cav. CAV.
Oh,
You can call me Cav. So if it's between Ren Tin Tin and Cav, of course I'm going to choose Mos Def.
yeah.
If it's between Reese and Sid, it's easier for me to choose Sid because as much as this is a rom-com that heavily features it's about the relationship between Sid and Dre, I think this is Sid's movie.
Yes.
So I'm going to side with Sid. With Kelby, I am like one thing in that Jamel Hill interview that I thought was funny was they brought up the line pop the ring, got marriage on my menu, and he was saying, that was me being so lame and trying my best to be cool, and I was like, I don't think it's that lame.
all that lame. Like, it was just funny and cute to me. I didn't like, I feel really bad for Reese, but I feel like really bad for him because I think that he is getting the real Sydney and he has fallen in love with the real Sydney. And he is giving, like, he feels like he's not, I don't know, like he's not. The
Kelby and Reese are
decision,
both getting used. They both
the
being used.
decision between Andre and Kelby would have been a difficult one for me to make.
I can see that. Real quick. I did not realize Young Dre was losing Isaiah. I'm just now finding this out.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes, I mean he was in a whole bunch of other stuff too. I remember him in like the second Charlie's Angels.
I ain't watched Charlie Angels. It says The Haunted Mansion. He was in, I saw Notorious.
I haven't
He
seen
was
that.
in Get Rich or Die Trying, Power.
I'm making is this. I wanted to see more Kelby and I wanted to see more Reese. Because I also, like I said before, I feel really bad for Reese. And I would love for there to be a little bit more like internal dialogue. Like, what are the conversations that she's having with herself as she watches her new husband constantly flirted up in her face with this girl?
His best friend. They always say, watch the best friend. I think she tried to handle it well. She tried. I feel like she tried her best, but Dre wasn't having it. He didn't care because he didn't really care about her. Just like Sydney didn't care about Kelby, even though she was getting mad about him not reading her articles. But was she that involved in his career?
No, she wasn't. That's why it's like, girl, shut the fuck up. Let me ask you this. What did you think about my article? Girl, shut the fuck up. Like, I get that you came to his practice. You came to his practice. You're not even concerned with, like, hey, I am at your job. How is everything going? You just came there to talk about your stuff.
But she was working, right? Wasn't she? Did she have
No, she had to get her
laptop?
she was working, but she came there, I think, to like clear her head.
Oh.
And to talk about wedding stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's what she had.
But she's like, that girl ain't worried about that man's nothing. I mean,
but
we
then
could see the. Go ahead.
I would say also, I don't think your partner has to be a fan of your work or read everything that you do. Especially if you're in two different fields. Like, maybe if he was a writer too and he can, like, I don't know, they can just like read each other's work for inspiration or like give like real notes. But if I don't know nothing, like if I'm not a music person, if I don't know the ins and out of music reviews or even care, it's like I might read a few, but why would I read every review you wrote?
That was a hard pill for me to swallow. That was a very hard pill for me to swallow. And I think Julesy, I watch her YouTube page often, and years ago, she said that, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think that your friends
have to support you in the way that you request them, right? So
Yeah.
if you sell hair and if your friends don't want to buy your hair, that doesn't mean that they're not being good friends. It just means that they might support you in different ways. So, I mean, you and I have had this podcast for how long? And I mean, I feel like there are a lot of people in my life where I'm like, I know you don't listen to that podcast, even though it's very important to me. I know you don't
Yeah.
listen, but I can't expect them to do it because they might assist in other ways in my
Yeah.
life. You know what I'm saying? But that was very difficult for me to accept. Like as a young woman, I it wasn't until my 30s that I was like, okay, like this is something that you have to get over. No one really owes you that, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you. And that's another thing. It's like, do you want a spouse or do you want a thought partner
Or a
for your
fan.
job,
Or you want a
or a
fan.
fan, or a fan? You know, which one? I sometimes I think that I can see why it's easy for certain writers to date other writers or academics to date
Yeah.
other academics
Be
or
in the same
musicians
discipline.
because it's like you get it. And I'm, one, that's how I met you. You know, if I'm only around musicians, then clearly I'm going to probably end up romantically linked to another musician. But, you know, and also you get it. If I say I have a gig in Istanbul and I, like you get it, I have to go.
But then with her job writing music reviews, you have to listen to the music, and he might not even listen to whatever album she's reviewing to really appreciate the review.
Yeah. Even though he's wanting to be a musician, right? Because he's a basketball player.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
He's
that
trying
part.
to get into rapping, but I mean, we already know what that's about. Like, if there are tons of, rappers who and singers who are like, "Oh, I'm in this movie, I'm in this," and it's like, what do you know about acting? What do you know about this craft? Have you studied it? No, of course not.
No.
Of course not. That would be too much like right. If you were to get married, would you have the portion about the if anyone objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace? Would you even have the
I feel like that's super traditional, but necessary. Um, I hear a lot of people say like, what's the point in having that? Because it's just gonna mess things up. But I have a practical thought on marriage. I
Mhm,
think um it can be necessary depending on your relationship. And I also believe that I don't think everyone needs to go to the legality of marriage. I think you
mhm,
can just be married if you are a religious person, just with your church or wherever your place of worship, just you, God, and your spouse, and that is
mhm.
a marriage. And then you have the legality of going to the courthouse and getting a marriage license and signing that paperwork. I think if you're going that route, I feel like um that part about if anyone objects, isn't that part of the it's a court system. That's what I look at it as. Like if you go to court for any other thing, you gotta raise your hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Like
So
it's
here's
part of
what
that part of marriage.
I I I don't go to a lot of weddings. I wonder if it's as common as we think. Um so here's what the not.com has to say. Though TV shows and movies would have us believe it's this all powerful proclamation of love from a former flame, wedding expert Kristen Wilson says the origins of this statement is less dramatic. As she explains, in medieval times, communication between areas was slow and complicated, and record keeping was anything but organized. This led the Christian church to establish the phrase as a way to give time for any legal issues in the marriage to come to light. This includes hiccups like the bride or groom who were already married or the couple or the couple was related. News of the wedding was posted publicly for a few weeks to give word time to travel to outlying areas, she explains. Saying speak now or forever hold your peace during the wedding day was like giving one last chance before this new marriage was legally binding. So I feel like this. At this point, a lot of people are legally married before they go through with the ceremony, right?
Yeah.
So to me, what's the
They'll do
point?
that and they have the ceremony later.
Like, what's the point? Like I had this, it turned into like an argument with my friend, and I said, I don't want that in the ceremony. Because if you feel that way, then why are you here? Why are you here? I don't even want your energy around. Why are you here? And that's what
They
people will
may
talk
have
about.
they may have something, I don't know, it might be something important.
You could
Who
have told me
knows?
that at you could have told me that at another time. And at this point, we're more than likely already married. So what are you doing?
I guess depending on the
And
time
also, if you
frame,
object,
you
that's
get a
not going to
no.
stop the wedding. That's not going to stop the wedding. You can object all day, and it's like,
No.
okay, well, thank you for your objection. All right,
But
let's
then
go.
also, but then because then the other hand, when people, I heard people say maybe if the marriage doesn't work out, and then later people like, oh yeah, I knew it wasn't going to work out, or I knew this about it. You should have said that up front. Say it up front. Don't come to me 5 years later talking about, oh, I knew XYZ. Tell me up front.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's just a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna walk up to um and I'm not gonna go into the aisle and change a kid's diaper, even though the kid's diaper needs to be changed. I like the couth. Where is it? Like, no, that's so inappropriate. So inappropriate. And I also think that proposing to someone at somebody else's wedding is inappropriate.
I don't think it's bad if you have conversations with the bride and groom.
I'm gonna tell you no. I'm going
I
to
don't
tell
think
you
it's
no.
I don't think it's that bad because the wedding is already done.
But we're celebrating the union. The
Okay.
point is to celebrate the union. And this is not just me. If I were at your wedding, I would be upset if somebody did this. I would be very upset. I would be like, what are you doing? This is not about you. This is not about you.
Like I said, only if I didn't if I knew about it. If I knew, oh, this person wants to propose, and if I agree, I'm not saying I would or would not agree, but if they came to me with this idea, and if I agree to it, let me know. Let me decide
I
if I
don't
want this
like
at my
it.
wedding.
I don't even if you are having a birthday and we had a mutual friend and they just broke up with their partner and they kept talking about it and was not
Oh, it
talking
had
about
the
your birthday,
energy
I would be like,
because then now the energy is
"Ugh."
going down.
It's about intention. The intention was to celebrate this. That's the intention here. And now maybe I'm being rigid just like Sid, maybe. But I feel like
I would be more upset if there was a proposal at my birthday because those are two different occasions.
I get the logic of that because it's
That
like
would
at the
make me
wedding we're
upset.
celebrating
At the
love.
wedding, we're already there is a
Everybody, yeah.
wedding. If another
Mhm.
person want to get, if two grandparents want to renew their 50 years, whatever, like we're already in the wedding spirit. I'm married, you get married. Let's all get married, whatever.
I
But if
feel
I'm
like
having
for
a
me
birthday,
it's the attention. I and
yeah.
I I'm so tired of people like, yes, in this moment I want the attention to be on me. If it's Nicole's wedding, I want the attention to be on her and her partner. And Nicole's birthday, I want the attention to be all on her. It is her day. Like, no. And I just want more people to speak about this instead of like saying that, I'm a narcissist or something like that. I don't feel like
it's appropriate to steal the spotlight from like the spotlight was dedicated to a certain thing and now we're changing it. No, because how are like what are we doing in order to I would just feel like, well dang, what about me? What about
Yeah.
me?
I
So
feel
that's
like
one of the reasons I felt like it was completely inappropriate for, Sid to be up there answering all them damn questions about Dre and his favorite this, favorite that, favorite song, favorite podcast, favorite hand, favorite tooth, favorite, fashion designer, favorite Cardi B song. Like ain't nobody got time for that. Stop.
Do you think Dre used finding Reese at dinner with Richard Lawson as an excuse to just have sex with Sydney?
The timing feels the timing feels I don't like the timing because he quits his job after, and this is the way the film is presented to us. I know that he might not quit his job because he saw Sid on a date with Kelby, but I'm just letting you know what it's
The
looking
events
like
are
to me.
lined up.
Let me tell you what it's looking like to me. Dre has the profession and he has the personal life. So he has the job and he has the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Sid has the job. That's it. Doesn't have the personal life. Now you know this girl like you. You know that. Right? So like you see her on the date with Kelby, you confused because you like, oh, what's going on? Like, who's this?
Oh yeah.
What's going
Like
on?
you didn't tell me you was going on a date. Like, do I need to?
Right. Then he quits his job, right? Like, am
Mm-hmm.
I getting, hold on. He quits the job after he sees Sid on a date with Kelby. That's when he quits the job. And it feels like, all right, I can't have this woman in my back pocket who's going to love me, the real me. I need something to be real. Let me quit this job and let me share this with Sid because and because I feel like that's an intimate thing to do. Like so it's very disrespectful for him to is it
So now
disrespectful for
we-
him not to tell Reese
yes,
first? I just kind of feel like
I
maybe
think it is.
you should have known that she would have felt the way. You should have known that.
But at least
But
have the conversation. Like you can't just have the conversation, even
I
if you
might
don't
have a
do it anyway.
conversation I might have a conversation with you before I have a conversation with my partner about a professional decision that I've
Ooh.
made because I'm trying to figure it out and I want to like I'm I'm I might be nervous to talk to my partner about it. I need to talk to a place where it's safe.
See, that's the problem. If you don't feel like your partner is safe, that's an issue.
Girl, I need it to be safe and I need to be comfortable and I need someone who's going to be on my side, period.
I see that.
But you're right. You're right. You're right.
But then it could be dangerous because of course your friend is going to encourage you to do what you want to do. But your partner is going to be like, "We just bought this house."
Yeah, and I'm reading into it in an unfair way because it's not like he was like, "Man, help me! How I'm gonna break this to Reese? What I'm gonna tell her? What? How should I tell her?" It wasn't that. It was all
No.
like, "Support me," you know. Um, yeah. But back to the optics of the situation. You see her on a date with Kelby, so now it's like, oh dang, he's stepping in on my
On
little
my
back pocket
territory.
girl. Let me quit this job. and share this with Sydney. An intimate thing to do. And I feel like, well, let me ask you this. Do you feel like if Sid wasn't with Kelby, do you think that they would have gotten together?
Wait, is Sydney wasn't with Kelby, would her and Dre get together?
Yeah. If Dre had found Reese with Richard Lawson, do you think that he would have gone back with Sid to the apartment, and like, do you think they would have had sex?
Wait, it's saying if he didn't?
If he, I guess here's what I'm thinking. It feels like, is this about acting on your desires for Sydney, or is this about acting on your desires for Sydney plus removing Kelby from the situation? Like, let me show her that
Dre didn't care about Kelby. He was like, I don't know who Kelby is. He didn't care about Kelby.
I feel like he did, because when it was like, are you going to tell him? Are you going to tell him that we did this? Are you going to tell him? I think he was worried.
I think he forgot about Kelby until Sydney was like, I'm in a relationship. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's right. So what you going to do? You going to tell him?
I think I don't know. I feel like he cared, maybe not in the moment where they were hot and heavy. But, you know, when she was talking about when she was on the date with him and Drake called and he was like, what you mean? Like, oh, he's took me to this restaurant. He's in the kitchen. He's cooking. Did you see him cook? He didn't cook for you.
Dre was a hater. He didn't do that. He was the biggest hater. He was
when he was sending all those roses, it was, see what I would have done. I would have sent you one rose. No, I feel like he has Kelby on the mind.
He was a big old hater. I get what you're saying. He does have Kelby on the mind, but I feel like he thinks Dre is very ego. He's got a big ego. He thinks he don't think Kelby can replace him.
I mean, she says yes to marrying him. I feel like he thinks.
And then Dre said what he said. He was like, "Oh, so you just gonna marry him because I married Reese? So that's what we doing? We playing tit for tat." That was his first response. He telling the truth, but I feel like that's what he thinks. He thinks it's a game. He don't think she in love with him. He thinks, just like he said, she's just said yes to him because he got married to Reese. That's it.
And I agree with him. But I wanted, like, let's keep the conversation going, Dre. Why did you ask that girl to marry you?
Exactly. He was real quick to just end everything. It's like, really?
I mean, so was Sid too. The way Sid took off that ring from Kim, I said he could afford to. You don't need to get that ring back. You can save that ring. You ain't got to marry him, but what you giving the ring back for? Dummy.
She ain't want it.
Pawn it and help Dre with the with the label.
His label donation.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another film and more opinions. Leave a review and tell us what you'd like for us to watch. And let's keep the convo going on Instagram. You can find us at Curry Gumbo. Be well. Happy watching. Love y'all. Bye.